Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and today we're gonna continue working on our mini album, and we're gonna be working on the pages inside. As you recall, last time we did the front, the binding, the spine I should say, and the back. So we're gonna be decorating our pages, and I'm gonna try to do this as fast as I can. So we are using the Prima Saint Tropez, and I've chose this design to cover this sheet right here. So what I want to do for this page here is a waterfall, and since this paper is double-sided, I'm just gonna be working straight with the paper to do my waterfall. And I found these on my stash, which I think is pretty cool. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use these as the closure for my waterfall. So let's do that. So I'm gonna cut the page. If you measure this back cover is 7.5 by 6.5, so I'm gonna be cutting my page at 7.25 by 6.25. So this one I'm cutting 7.25 by 6.25, and that will go right there. And before I glue that on, I'm going to add this to the back right here, and I'm gonna glue this part, and I'm going to cut this right at this point. So let me get this. So I'm cutting this like that, and let me go ahead and glue. And I'm using fabric tack. This is a very strong glue, and it works really good with textures and with ribbons and laces. So just like that, I'm gonna make sure it's on the center here. Okay, and this will go like this. So I'm just gonna make sure it's center. Okay, so to start working on the waterfall here, since this paper is double-sided, I'm just gonna work straight with the paper so I can take advantage of both sides. So I'm gonna cut these ones at 4.5 by 6. This piece right here, I'm going to score at half, and I'm going to bend it, and I'm going to add some glue. You can also add double-sided tape to this portion here, but I think glue, it's a little bit more easy to work with. Like if you want to align it and move it to make sure it's straight, then glue will allow you to do that. Okay, so I cut my papers and I scored 1/2 inch, and right now I'm just adding, and every time you add one, always close it back to make sure it's straight on the sides like this. Okay, so then I'm gonna add one more. I have 4 on my waterfall. And with the glue, you always have to let it dry for a little bit. So try not to move it so much. Okay, so I have 4, and you could add one more if you like, but what I want to do here is add a piece of Velcro. Where's my Velcro? So I'm using this small little Velcro, and I'm just gonna put, let's see, I'm gonna put the white edge right there, and this one right here, And then I'm gonna place it right where I want it, which is right here. So let me let it dry. Okay, there it is. And I think I have room to add one more. I just wanted to make sure I don't cover this. So I'm gonna cut one more piece of 4.5 by 6. Okay, so I have one more piece here. And let's see, yes, so this is fine. Oops. Okay, so now this, I still have room for this to close. So now to embellish this part right here, I'm going to add a cute little flower. I'm gonna add one of these cute little flowers that I also had in my stash, and these are from Michael's as well. So I'm just gonna add that with some fabric tack, and I think I'm running out just a little bit, and I'm going to make sure I open that, and just like that. For my next page, I have a piece of 6 by 6.5, and I'm just going to distress using my scissors all around as we did for the cover, and give it a little bit of fun, you know, rustic edge here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and just add it to my page. Okay. So just like that. And I do have a white area here, but I'm going to add, I think I'm going to add like a lace or something. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. So I'm going to add one more paper here and one more paper here. So like I said, these pages are, oh, let's see, I forget, 6.25 by 7.25. So my piece here will be a 6 by 7, and my piece here, it's a 6 by a 6.5. So I'm gonna do that really quick. Okay, so I cover my papers here and there, and these pages I'm just gonna leave flat so it closes fine. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and embellish this piece right here, and I have some different materials here on my table that I want to start playing with, and I found this very pretty lace, and I think it looks kind of like the waves on the ocean, so I think I want to incorporate this lace in here. So let's see, I think, let me cut this to my page, and let's see, maybe I want to put it up here. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna put it up there. I think I'm gonna cut it. Let's see what we come out with. So I think I can put it there to embellish the edge, the top. Then I had some pearls. Whoop. Well, the idea, I think, is to do something like that, and then maybe I want a foot mat. No, I don't like how it's too much contrast with too matchy. So let's see. But I think I like this, so I'm gonna go ahead and glue it already. This glue. Like I said, I don't really like to overthink what I'm doing too much. Let's just do this, and then I'm gonna add one more layer for this. Okay. Whoops. Okay, you stay there. Okay, so it gives it a very soft edge, I think. So kind of like it. And then maybe, because this is the front of my page, or you know, the first thing you see when you open the album, I want to incorporate some color here, maybe right there. I also cut these from the collection, and I distressed the edge with my scissors a little bit. So maybe I can do something like this. I know I want room to put a cute picture there, so I might not use that. But I have some butterflies here that maybe will look cute. So let's find out. Are there butterflies in the ocean? Probably not that many, but I just love butterflies. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna use this. So I'm just gonna start adding my cluster of flowers here. And I think for this page, it's pretty. I might add this for the border. I don't know, it kind of looks like a little bit too much right now, but remember, we're gonna cover it with our picture. So not this, but you know, you will put your picture here. So I think I like it, so I'm just gonna add a little bit of glue. And there we go. So that is gonna be my page 1. Okay. I think I'm never too sure, but let's move on to the next page. So on this page we have a little pocket, and I'm just gonna use my scraps that I already have, and I'm just gonna cut these pieces to size. And I think I'm gonna use this design for the back, and this design, let me see, this design. Okay, so let me cut this out. Okay, so I cut, and I also distressed the edge, and now I'm just going to glue. I'm just going to glue this one on the back here. The back of my pocket. I love this paper, isn't it beautiful? And then I'm gonna grab this ocean side, so I'm gonna glue the back. And I'm gonna put it right here. I love it. Okay, and then I'm gonna use this one this time, and I'm gonna grab the extra after I cut this piece, and I'm just gonna add it as a layer on the back right here. And so first I'm gonna glue this one. Oh, my glue is giving me a hard time. Okay, so I'm just gonna place this like that, and this one like this. And I'm kind of going for the messy, you know, it's the beach, It's fun, it's nothing serious. I'm gonna layer some flowers on the side here. So I'm actually gonna move this there so I have room for my flower. So again, my flowers, I like to use this fabric tack, and I'm gonna try not to cover the word ocean. And then I'll probably just do this flower. Oh my goodness, this glue. Okay. And I'll just put that right there. And then I'm gonna come back and add the tags later on. So I think for now, I'm happy with how this looks. And let's move on to the next one. Okay, so first, when I have small pieces like this, I try to see if I can use my scraps. So this one, it's not gonna work. And oh, this one will be kind of good because I want to match that paper. I like matching my layouts. When you open it, I kind of like it to look like a scrapbook layout. So let's see, this one is not gonna work either. So I think I'm gonna have to cut a new sheet. So I have my sheet here, and I'm just gonna mark. So I have 4 pieces, and the size is actually 6 1/4 by 4 1/2, just in case you were wondering, because I just measured it really quick. So I have 4, and I'm just gonna start gluing them. And I distressed the edge on this one as well. So I'm adding one here, and I'm gonna add one here on this side, and this side. Also, I have a magnet here that I added, but I just want to point that out. These 2 pieces have a magnet, and I did that on the first tutorial when I was creating the mini album. So I just wanted to point that out so you remember to add your magnet. Now another option, instead of adding the magnet, is to glue your paper and add in a piece of Velcro like this, guys, like what I did here. So that's another option if you don't have magnets. These ones you can find at Joann's, and it's a package. You get actually quite a few of those. So let me remove the tape here, and I'm going to add my other paper here. Just like that. Okay, and last but not least is the paper on this side, and for that I'm just using one of my scrap pieces. I always try to find pieces that will fit before I start cutting a new page, especially if it's gonna be back here. If it's here on the front, I like to match it, but if it's gonna be back here, it's perfect. So now I need a page here, and this page will be a 7 by 6. Okay, so I added the page back here, and now we are ready to decorate. So when you open it, it looks like that, very simple. But now we will decorate here. So I'm gonna grab this leftover piece from when I cut this lace here, because I mean it's still very pretty. You don't want to waste it. So what I'm gonna do is kind of create a little bit of a pocket with my lace. So I'm just gonna add, if this glue wants to work with me, I'm gonna add a little bit of my glue, a very fine line, and then kind of as a pocket here. And let's see, just like so. just as an extra touch. Okay, and then I'm gonna layer some flowers. I think this flower will be very pretty right here. And then because there's a butterfly there, I want to add this butterfly somewhere here. And then also I want to incorporate this pink rose, because there's a pink rose right there. So I'm just gonna add this here, but I'm gonna add this little plastic here so my flower doesn't ruin the purpose of my pocket with the glue. So I'm gonna let this dry a little bit, and if you keep moving it, it won't stick to that. And then the same with this little rose. Okay, and okay, so in the meantime, from my scraps, I think I'm gonna use this little, kind of looks like a Polaroid little frame. So I'm just gonna give it, as I cut this out, it doesn't have to be perfect or straight because I want to distress the edge. Just really fast. Sorry about the noise. It's probably a little bit irritating to your ears, but what can you do? And that can go right here on a little pocket. So let me get this out. And I don't think it's dry yet, so I'm just gonna leave it in for a minute. But these can go in our pocket here as an extra thing, and then we can also put a picture here if we want to. So I'm gonna leave that there for right now and move on to the next page here. So this page is just plain, and my purpose for that page, I think, was to add a waterfall. I'll make sure it's not gluing. Okay, so I'm just gonna pick a design here for, I haven't used this one yet, so I think this one will be very, very pretty here. So I have the piece for here, and with the leftover of the paper, I have the piece for this side. So I'm going to distress each one of these. Okay, so they're distressed, and I'm gonna glue this piece, but I'm not gonna glue the other one just yet because, like I said, I want to do a waterfall, but this is gonna be a waterfall that you pull down. So for that, I'm gonna wait onto gluing these. So what we're gonna do to make that waterfall is I'm gonna cut a new sheet of paper, and my paper is here. Okay, and I'm using the 110 pound again, and I'm gonna cut these at 4. Okay, and I'm gonna cut this one too at 4, and then I'm gonna cut these ones at 4. So they're gonna be 4 by 4. So 4 by 4, and you will need 4 pieces of that. 4 by 4. Okay, and then you're gonna grab another one and again cut it on the long side at 4. So, and then after you have that, you are gonna grab your scoreboard. I want to make sure you can see. And here, I'm gonna score at 1/2 inch, at 1, 1 1/2, and 2, just like that. There you go. So, and then I'm just gonna give it a bend. Woo! My paper, I'm sorry. Okay, and then let me remove this out of the way. And then I'm gonna start adding these pieces by gluing the bottom here, the first score line, and then you're gonna place the first one and hold it just for a little bit, and then you're gonna do the same with the next one, the next score line, and then you add your second piece. Make sure it's straight. Again, one more. You want to do it one at a time. You don't want to add the glue to everything, because then the glue will just go everywhere. Okay, and then the last one here. Like that. How easy, right? Okay, we're not quite done. So, and then I'm gonna grab these, and where my last one ends, I'm gonna add 1/2 inch, and I'm gonna trim right there. So let's see, 1/2 inch to the last, so you will have a piece like this. Okay, so let me open it here and give it a bend to make sure that it's glued properly and it didn't get stick to the next one. Okay, so once we have that, let's use our scraps and cover these papers. So your scraps are gonna be, or your little mats are gonna be 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, and you are gonna need 4 of those. So this is a perfect way to use all your scraps. So 3 3/4, 3 3/4, and one more. Okay, and so then I'm gonna just glue them here. Okay, and then you're gonna find another piece from your scraps that is going to fit this part right here. So this seems fine, but I do have to cut this right at that point. So let's do that real quick. And a little bit messy. Okay, so there you go. Okay, so now we are ready for the next step, which is adding it to our page. So we want to put this right on the center of our page here. So for that, we are gonna need another little piece from your scraps that is kind of long like this. And let's see, so I'm gonna cut these right here. I will give you the measurements right now, 1 second. So this piece is gonna be cut at 5, I'm gonna say 5 1/4 by 1. Okay, so just that little piece. And this piece I will distress a little bit. Just roughly like that. And I think I can zoom in. Okay, so this piece will go right here like so. So I'm gonna take that out and I'm gonna glue a little bit of the edges and make sure it's center and even. Okay, so then you are gonna punch a couple of holes. Oops. On these right here on the center. Make sure it's the little holes. So I'm gonna put one right there and one right here, and then I'm gonna grab two little brats. Keep my brats in this little container, and let me try to find same color. Okay, so and then you just put it in your little holes like so for both. Okay, just like that. And then just to reinforce, I like to add some double-sided tape so it doesn't move or break the page, just like so. And now we are ready to attach this page into here. So I'm going to remove my tape and glue it. It seems complicated, but it's really not. It's very easy to do these waterfalls. Okay, so here we go. Okay, and I'm gonna put this away. Then you're gonna add some double-sided tape right here, and okay, and then we are ready to put this. So this is gonna go in here like that. Okay, now before I do that, one more thing. I'm gonna punch another hole in the center here, maybe a bigger hole. Okay, and I'm gonna use what is this called, string fute, and I'm just going to use a little bit of string to help us pull our waterfall easily. So I'm just gonna make a knot. Oh, I think I cut this too small. Okay, make a knot. Let's see. Oh my goodness, this is so hard. Okay, here we go. Sorry. Okay. See? Just like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna place it where I want it. Make sure it's straight. And then when you are ready, you're gonna open it and pull your tape out. And close it back up. And I think it's straight. I hope it's straight. Okay, and then, yay, your little waterfall. Let me zoom out. How cute is this? So if you like, you can also cover the back of the paper here. I'm not too sure if I want to do that yet. You can also add some journaling or just whatever you want. If I have a lot of scraps left over, I'll probably start using them. But for right now, I don't want to cut a new sheet just for that. So let's move on to the next. So since we already covered that, this page is actually a big belly band. So I'm gonna find some long scraps like this And I'm just gonna, and this so happened to match this paper, which makes me happy. So I'm gonna cut these at 7 1/4. So I have my pieces, and then these ones I'm just gonna glue like this and like this. See, so you don't have to waste a whole new sheet just for that page. So before I do that, I'm going to distress the side that is going to be on the outside. Okay, let's place it in. There you go. And I'm gonna do the same for this other side. All right, so next I'm going to add a little photo pull out here, like a trifold kind of thing, to maximize the amount of pictures I can have in my album. So for that, I'm gonna grab a new 110-pound sheet, or you can use the regular cardstock if you want. And I'm gonna cut this at 6. Actually, I'm gonna cut this at 5.5. And then I'm going to score these at 4 and at 8. Okay, and then I'm gonna do the same with the other half. I'm gonna score at 4 and I'm gonna score at 8. Okay, so let me remove these, and I'm just gonna fold these like so, and this one as well. So I'm gonna attach one to the next here, kind of like to make an accordion fold. That's what it's called. So this little flap I'm gonna attach here, and for that I'm just gonna use double-sided tape. Here we go. Okay, I just dropped my glue. And then let me take this off to the side here and make sure it's even. Okay, it's even. Okay, and then I'm going to take the rest of my tape. Okay, so I have this long piece here, and then I also have a little flap. So now I'm gonna go back here and I'm gonna attach this here, but however I'm not gonna use this little flap here. I don't think I need it. Oops. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. I mean, you could use the flap to attach these, but and use, you know, magnets to keep it closed. But my idea is to use my string here and tie these as a closure. So I'm gonna put it here, and I'm going to add double-sided tape. Let me make sure this is even. Okay, so that's the middle. So one double-sided tape on the edge and one more on the other edge, and maybe one more in the center. Okay, so then we're gonna take it off and attach. So this photo mat, it's 4 by 5.5. Oh yes, my glue. Sorry guys, my glue was on the floor. Okay, so I'm just gonna add my glue everywhere here, and this If you wanted to open this way, you put it this way, but I actually wanted to open the other way, so I'm just gonna put this right here. And here we have a little accordion photo place, and you get room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pictures here. And then of course you're gonna cover it with paper, and this will be your closure. And this is gonna end my tutorial for today, and then next time when we come back we are going to do the remaining of the pages. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.